Alright, the program I'm using is Krita, and we're going to be talking about color theory and colors, how to understand them. This you might want to know. One example is actually how to dress. If you find that you're wearing strange colors and they don't fit, then improving your color theory will actually help you. Another is if you're an artist, perhaps your pictures look amateur and weird and they don't look the right shades and the right colors, and you need to learn a bit more color theory. Maybe perhaps you're making a business logo or card or something and it looks, again, kind of amateurish and strange, and you don't understand why, and it's because of your choice of colors. So, firstly, take a look over here. This is the color wheel and the color triangle. Personally, I like the color triangle, though I believe we can get a color square somehow. Well, doesn't matter. There's the color triangle and the color square. Now, the color triangle up the top, as we can see here, is the darkness. When I go up, it makes it darker. The color makes the color darker. When I go over here, which is the white area, it makes the color lighter, or whiter I should say. It makes it whiter. Similarly here, it makes it blacker, because I could go down in between white and the actual color area, which makes it more of that color. You see, that kind of looks uncanny. It almost looks psychedelic or poisonous or unnatural. If I then go here, it looks a little duller. Maybe over here, these look a little more natural, these kinds of shades, than something like that. That just pops out. Though, you can use that to your advantage, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So in the middle is kind of what you would think of as the most neutral of the colors. And of course here we can see the gray to light gray to white to black values here. And these are, you can think of these as your values or your shades of from white to black, the kind of intensity of color. The intensity of the shade, I guess you would say. This is more the intensity of the color down here. Now, we have our color wheel, and how many colors can you count? We can count red, orange, yellow, green, maybe like a teal, a light blue, a kind of dark blue, a purple, and a pink. That's about the major ones, so to speak, but we can see that certain areas are larger, like green has this entire area where in this green is more of a kind of yellowy green, while in the middle it's very bright mint green, and then it gets to a more teal color. We can see this gradient, and again I'm using the full force of the color, and it really pops out. It's really powerful. While if we look at purple, purple's kind of got maybe a smaller area. Red has about the same as purple, maybe, depending on how you want to look at it. Yellow, again, has a pretty small region. Blue, if you want to count light blue and kind of dark blue, it's got lots of area, it's got lots of spaces. And we can almost see that light blue is a different color to indigo blue. They are both blues, but they are very different, because a light indigo looks more like that, while a light blue looks like that, and a dark light blue looks like that, a dark indigo like so. Now, if we look at the contrasting color, which is the opposite of this blue, it would be this yellow. These are contrasting colors. take the red, really, really strong red, the opposite is this blue. See, they look bad. They look almost strange together. You wouldn't see this in nature, which is why I say it looks kind of psychedelic, or it looks kind of strange. And you can use that to your advantage. You can start, you know, layering on different colors and make weird effects and influence people psychologically through color if you want. How do you make opposite colors look good together? How do I make this color and this color look good? We go more towards the gray. This is a weaker, see, this whole region here is a weaker strength. As we move away from this is the strongest color of the kind of yellowy region, yellowy orange region. We move away, so that's 80, so this is 100%. This is maybe 80% of that color. This is about 60%, 40%, 20%. Looks basically just, I mean, because we're near gray, but if we weren't near gray, look at that. This color and this color look okay together. Maybe these two, I think these two look better. Actually, this one, I mean, if you had a lower contrast, they'd look alright. Anyway, this and this, it clashes. You can do it, but you need to really know what you're doing and why you're doing it. You want to do that because you want it to clash. This and this, it clashes still. This and this, which is about 60%, it's better. You could do it, you could do it, you could use it. It still kind of clashes. I'd probably use a different blue for this. I'd use maybe, doesn't look bad, maybe a darker, maybe a darker blue, something like that. Either way, this, I don't really like this yellowy color, so maybe a bad example, but you kind of get the point. If I put these around the blob, you could maybe get a better example. See how clashing this is, and then when we get to here, it's less clashing, till of course we get the gray. So the way that you have opposite colors, for example, I want a really bright red, and I want a blue, which is somewhat clashing. You can think 180 degrees. Instead, we do 1/3, which a third, you know, think of a triangle. There, there, and here. These are like triangular colors, RGB. They are triangularly clashing, which means with this blue and this red, we can use a little more strength and it won't look bad. That and that doesn't, I think that looks alright. If I use less strength, again, that could work, but I'd probably want to use a darker, a little better. And we use a bit of a darker. Nah, that's a bit too clashing. You can see that's too clashing. This one and this one, too clashing. I completely forgot I had my tablet on. And then if we go here, far too clashing. But if we go back, maybe here, this looks a little bit dull. You could do it, again, depending on what you wanted, why you wanted to do it. But again, it looks a bit dull. I think these two together look alright. You know, if you were drawing something, for example, so maybe some kind of gemstone or something, and then had a red like this, which fills in quickly, and then it had maybe, I don't know, some kind of little markings like that or something. It'd look alright. Who knows? Kind of alright. Maybe a little much. Maybe, I don't know. If we did less, would it? Don't know. Sometimes worse is better, so to speak. As in, sometimes more clashing is better. Sometimes less clashing is okay. I mean, it's not okay. It's boring. Now, we take a red. Pink and purple are pretty much near the red. We can have a pretty strong red and a pretty strong pink, and it looks fine. See how they look pretty much like the same or a very similar color? They look similar enough. When we go to purple, it starts to clash a little bit. So we go further away from the purple thingo down to here. And look at that. Now it starts to work. Instead, what we had before was this. And again, just because I say it looks bad doesn't mean you can't use it. If you want to make clashing colors, you can. Just understand that you need to know what you're doing. You need to have an intention for it, essentially. Otherwise, if you just kind of want to go autopilot, yeah, probably lighten that one, maybe. Yeah, there's some colors together that could work. You know, we could make something out of that. Maybe that's, I don't know. I like using low contrast. So this is, I believe it's called the contrast. Just you can think of it as strength or whatever. I like lower contrast colors, but recently I've been using a bit more, you know, a bit more strength in them. Okay, so again, to summarize, 180-degree opposites, you need to reduce the contrast by quite a lot to get them to work together. Sometimes you got to lighten them, sometimes you got to darken them, depending. This one I would do something like that, maybe. Yeah, even I could lighten it even more. Maybe not actually, just because this orange is, I'd probably have to. I don't know. Doesn't matter. For trine colors, so on something like that, you can lighten it maybe halfway or a bit less, and they'll kind of work together. They'll kind of. This is a weird color scheme. Brown, kind of like that green, and that purpley blue. I don't think that'll work too well. You'd probably have to, I don't know, darken the purple. That looks alright, and then maybe lighten that, darken this a little bit. Nah, that could kind of work. We could even use a really dark brown. That'd kind of work. So just play around with, again, the lightness and the darkness. Once you've got the strength of color that's appropriate, that's if you want to make things just work. Otherwise, you just, you know, intense red as possible, intense blue as possible, intense green. See how painful that is to look at? But maybe you want to do that. Maybe you want to make some weird, like, patterned thing, you know, with these colors, like this. More patterns, you know. If you really want it to stand out, it's kind of, it's like seeing a mentally ill person, you know. It's got that intensity of character, I'll put it that way. I should more say like emotionally ill person. Not I don't really, yeah, or a person who has an ill personality. Isn't that nice? Right, what else do we need to know? So if you want to play it safe, you can just use low strengths of everything. As we can see these all fit together. You could paint something with this, you could make something a little darker. Here you could, you know, you can make your own color palette this way. Be like, yep, these all kind of work together because they are, what would you call it? Because it's, you know, it's green, light blue, it's green, kind of greeny blue, light purpley blue. See, and then we're building up a color palette because, again, you have darker, medium, and light. And then if you want to get really intense, you have really dark and really light, you know, and we can fill this out and we can use this as your color palette if you need a helping hand. And then of course you've got black and you've got white as well. And how many intensities of light and darkness is really up to you. You can have, you know, infinite amount. Like we have 3, we have 5, we have, is this 7? Yes, this is 7. For example, it's just slowly going up or down. Things like pastels, for example, pastel is kind of around here, like this, kind of there. Yeah, these all work together and they're very light and kind of nice. It's like a watercolor. So this is how you get a pastel color. As you go down there, as you can see, look, they kind of look nice. It's similar to these. These are easy to use, and they're not quote unquote dangerous colors. They're friendly to use because you can't really mess up painting something with these. They're just not intense enough. It's not until you start getting around here that it's like, okay, that's looking like a grass color. That's not looking like a fantasy color book or like a, you know, I don't know, some kind of stylized book. This is more looking like, okay, this is a grass color. That's a dark grass color. You know, that's a really light color. These are looking realistic. These colors now, they're looking like something, you know, you might see. And it's going to add more intensity, more realism to it when you start using these kinds of, as I said, these more intense colors around here, you know. While these ones near the grey are a bit safer and easier to use. And the ones in the middle, it's a bit half, as we can see, it's kind of halfway. You can see there, yeah, not too bad. Oh, no, it's all good. Now, one interesting thing to note is that, for example, we take this green in full intensity green, and then we take full intensity blue. Which one's darker? The blue's darker. And we take the purple. Which one's darker? The blue, I think, is still the darkest. The purple is the second darkest and the green is the lightest. Now, the green is the lightest, the pink is the second lightest, then I think it's purple and blue. Do you understand what I mean? We add red into it. The green, I think, is the lightest, then the pink, then the red, then the purple, then the blue, I think. So, different colors have different lightness to them. Just because this is full red doesn't mean it's the same lightness as this. See how it's kind of like it's shifting to nighttime, and then it's like the sun is rising, and then it's starting to set now. Sun is setting. We're going to some weird world, and back to nighttime. Get what I mean? Or you can think maybe that way. You know, is it rising? So there's a different lightness and darkness to different colors. And there is a different gendered colors. The blues and the purples and well, from around pink to green, these are all the feminine colors. The red, the orange, the yellow, and the lighter green are masculine colors. Lighter colors are masculine, darker are feminine. That's how this kind of works archetypally. Interestingly, I remember yellow and pink was what apparently the girls would like when I was in, you know, primary school. When you weren't allowed to like pink or yellow as a boy, or you were very strange if you liked those colors. Similarly, I think red and blue were the boys' colors, and green was kind of you know, you may be a little strange if you liked green. That was kind of free territory for anyone. Anyone was allowed to use green, I guess, but blue and red, I think, back then. But realistically, darker colors are feminine, lighter colors are masculine. We can kind of see the red looks darker than like these colors here, and maybe than the pink. So that's an interesting thing. Well, the blue is very, very dark, as we can see. So if you want to make a more nighttime, you know, darker feminine scene, you use very darker colors. But the interesting thing is girls can like using lighter colors instinctually, while men like using darker colors instinctually. So pretty much things are opposite, you know. We live in this weird opposite land. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough for this one. I hope you enjoyed. And of course, have a good day and check the links in the description if you're interested. And goodbye.